Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Art.
Hello, Nicole.
We will wait just a few seconds. We have a lot of people filtering in yet, but how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. When it comes to talk about AI, I get all excited about this. So,
Yes,
yeah, we got a packed house today.
we do. We do. And we do have a full agenda, so I can go ahead and get us started. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for our webinar, Supercharging Productivity, How AI Can Help and Where to Start. I'm Nicole Kurtz. I'm the Director of Product Marketing at Breach Secure Now, and I'm joined today by our CEO, Art Gross. Art, thank you for joining to talk about this awesome topic of AI.
Oh yeah, this is I'm thrilled to be here, and we have been on the forefront of AI for about a year and a half right now, and it's exciting to be talking about it and sharing some of our experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. And to our MSP partners, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for also being at the forefront of this AI revolution right along with us. You are the ones who are really bringing AI and these technological advancements into your clients' organizations. So we thank you for being proactive in these conversations. We also want to welcome your clients to today's webinar. We appreciate you joining us to learn about how AI can really help you in your business and how you can really supercharge your productivity.
All right.
All right, so we are going to
One
go.
day the AI will be doing it for us. We won't even have to do this.
Yeah, we are real humans. Maybe we
Yes, we
should make
are.
that
We really
disclaimer.
are. Yes.
All right, so we're going to get things kicked off and first talk about what is AI. So, Art, when we talk about AI here in this presentation, what are we talking about? Generative AI or robots and driving
Yeah.
cars or?
Well, that's a big problem. AI, artificial intelligence, it means a lot to different people, right? It could be robots, it could be Teslas, self-driving cars, but what we're really talking about is generative AI, and we'll talk about some of the tools. But these are tools to help humans, all right? To make you more productive, to do research, to do writing, to do data analysis, to help with communication. So that's really what we're talking about. We're not talking about, autonomous cars. We're not talking about, eliminating humans and these autonomous agents that are doing the functions that employees would do or humans would do. They're not perfect. They make mistakes. They need, and when you think about generative AI, they need humans to make them better, to validate their information. So that's really what we're talking about. It's really important to see the difference of what we're talking in this webinar is really about generative AI. And why don't we hit on some of the tools so it'll bring it home a little more.
Yeah.
All right, so a lot of people have heard about ChatGPT. That is one of the leading generative AI tools. There's Perplexity, which is like a search engine that a lot of people are using instead of using Google search. You have Google Gemini, you have Microsoft Copilot and Meta AI, and Claude's another big one. So these are some of those generative AIs that do research and write text. You have DALL-E, which is a creative tool, and Canva, where you can do graphics and presentations with the help of AI. So when in this webinar, we're really talking about these tools. We're talking about putting these tools in employees' hands and making employees more productive and doing assisting humans in some of their job functions or in some of their just tasks that they would do in their personal life or in their business life.
Yeah, I know personally, I've been using generative AI for maybe 2 years. I've had Grammarly installed on my computer and I didn't know it had this term
Yeah.
generative AI, and I love to use Canva. So I think a lot of us are already interacting with these tools. We just don't realize that we're actually actively involved
Right.
in using AI.
That's a good point. If you have an iPhone, you use Siri, right? That is actually some sort of AI right there. So we have been using AI before it became its own category. So
Right.
that's a good point. We're really seeing adoption pick up. Somewhere in 2023, ChatGPT released their 3.5 model, and from there, generative AI exploded. It's in the news. If you hear about it, organizations are starting to adopt it. And what we saw in 2023, about 33% of the organizations were using some sort of generative AI. Now we're looking at it's up to 65%. That doesn't mean every employee is using it at 65% of the companies, but there could be some employees that are starting to embrace it, some companies that are using it more than others. We're really new in this AI revolution, productivity revolution, but it's starting to be adopted more and more. And you get some of these webinars that we're starting to introduce it to maybe some employees that have not really embraced what this is or may have some fears about it. But I think what we're going to see in the next 6, 12, 18 months is a lot more adoption, a lot more understanding of what the tools can do, and a lot more benefits that people are going to realize.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the next report. This report was done by McKinsey, actually, so we'll make sure we stay on track with that and see where we end up, next year as well.
I'm sure that line will continue upward.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about some misconceptions. And the first one is the misconceptions and barriers of adoption. Everybody here is, if you're listening to the news, AI is going to take human jobs, and humans are going to be without work, and they're going to be replaced. And I think that's a misconception. At least in the near future, I personally don't see AI taking jobs. I see it helping employees. I don't see its full job replacements, and so I think that's a misconception. I think it's better not to look at it that way. And we're going to talk about some ways of looking at it. So one of the major misconceptions is that AI is going to replace humans and take jobs. The other one, and this is kind of an interesting one, that it devalues an employee's contribution. Meaning, if you write an email and AI helped you, is that as good as a human writing it? Or if AI is actually writing it for you, is it not as worthy as an employee writing it? And I think that's where we are right now, where we have this misconception that if I use AI, maybe I don't want to tell anybody. And I think that goes to that step. What do you discuss that they're reluctant to talk about the fact that they used AI.
Yeah, 52% of employees say they're reluctant to admit they use it for their most important tasks. So I think exactly to Art's point, people feel that it might devalue them. I know we'll talk a little bit about this more later, kind of breaking down these misconceptions and these barriers, but I think a lot of this is involves building a culture of AI and really embracing AI at your organization. I know personally here at Breach Secure Now, we love AI. We embrace it heavily. At first, maybe we were all a little hush hush. We don't talk about how we use it, but now we're teams messaging each other every day. Oh, look what I did with AI. So I think the more it's talked about, the more it becomes part of the culture, the more people are excited and proud that they're using it and have those skills to really effectively use that.
It's interesting. If you were to do a calculation, if you did it on a piece of paper or used a calculator, would you hide the fact that you used a calculator? No, you got the answer. And I think that's really where AI is right now, whether it's all human that wrote that or human with a computer and AI, working in conjunction to get some good output, doesn't really matter. As long as the information is correct and accurate and it does what it's supposed to, I think you're going to see more of that adoption and more, less hiding the fact that you're using AI. And the other misconception is that, that it's difficult to learn and implement. I mean, AI itself is extremely complex, right? The stuff that goes into, or the methodologies of taking all this data and be able to generate this text or data analysis is really, really complex. But using the tool itself is really easy. I mean, it really is, it it's thought of as being this complex, computer-driven information, but they make it so easy, and we'll talk about that more. So that's a major misconception, that it's difficult to learn, difficult to implement. And then we have common barriers of adopting, right? Lack of knowledge, lack of expertise. I think a lot of people have opened up ChatGPT and tried it and, said, write an email, and it wrote it, and it wasn't that good. And people said, it's not that good. And they stopped using it, right? Because they didn't know how or what, how to use the tool better. And I think that's a major problem that we have today. And then, like anything, people have fear of technology. What is this? What is this artificial intelligence? I don't understand it. I'm a little worried about it. And I think, that's part of the barrier of adopting it. And, we're trying to have this webinar today to lower those barriers, to make it that it's more accessible and maybe take away some of that fear. Resistance to change. People are used to doing jobs, or used to doing things that they are used to, do it. But I've always done it this way. Trying to get artificial intelligence to help me, maybe doesn't feel comfortable at first. And I think that is, that's adoption. That's getting used to a new way, a new methodology. And I think that's, when we talk about humans are fixed in things that they do. And sometimes new technology and new ways of implementing their job function becomes a little scary. And hopefully with webinars like this and introduction to the technology becomes easier and less scary, less frightening, and more easily adopted. Also, the AI, if you think about like a Tesla and you think about self-driving cars, but that's an incredible amount of technology, very expensive to implement. And a lot of times businesses are thinking, well, this is really expensive and it's going to cost a lot, and the skill sets that I don't have, and maybe why bother? We're this is not going to work for us. And really, it isn't that expensive, and it isn't that hard to implement, especially when we're talking about generative AI and using some of the tools that we mentioned. And I think a big thing is, and businesses rightfully are worried about security concerns and data privacy and legal and ethical, and can we use information that that comes out of AI? I think those are real concerns that businesses, along with MSPs that are going to work with a lot of businesses, need to address. How do we use AI? How do we validate? How do we make sure we're not infringing on copyrights? How do we make sure that we're not putting in sensitive information? All of those concerns are valid, and I think those are real, and they're barriers, but they can be addressed in sensible ways that make it a lot easier to use in a safe and secure manner.
Yeah, absolutely. And the good news is Microsoft reports that 70% of non-users would use generative AI if they knew more about the technology. So I think despite us seeing all these barriers for adoption and these misconceptions, the overwhelming majority of people are receptive to learning more about it and using it if that opportunity is present. So I think that's good news for
It
all of
is.
us.
Yep. All right. So this is interesting, and and I really push this at Breach Secure now, that this is advanced technology. It's scary. It's new, and what I really want to emphasize is that if you look at AI and generative AI like ChatGPT or Perplexity, look at it as an intern. All right. It's here to help you. And if you've ever hired an intern, interns, they're eager, but they don't know your business. They don't really know how to do the job that they're hired for, and they really need training, and they need you to work with them. And the one thing about thinking of AI as an intern is interns don't take your job. Interns won't replace you. That's the bottom line. I can hire 10 interns and they can't replace my job. All right, there's a lot of development that they still need to do. So right away, that takes away some of the fear that this intern is going to take your job. It's not. This intern's here to help you. And and interns are if you hired an intern and you didn't tell them about your job and you didn't really work with them and communicate, they're not going to be very effective. They're not going to help you. But if you sit there and take the time to explain what you do, what you're trying to accomplish, how you're trying to accomplish it, and really interact, what you'll find is that intern will work really well for you. Generative AI is exactly like that. If you don't take the time and you say, write a report for me, write this email or help me, and you don't give it a lot of details, it's not going to do something that you can actually say, oh, this is usable. But if you take the time to interact with it and use it and really refine how you work together, it's going to produce a lot of incredible results. The other thing, and if you're a business owner, you think about this, we hire interns and they help a department. Imagine giving every single one of your employees their own intern, right? So, if you have one intern, they help a little bit. If you have 10 interns, they're gonna help a lot. If you have 50 employees and you have 50 interns, think about how much better your employees are going to be and how much happier they're gonna be because they have someone to help them. So really looking at generative AI as an intern, I think is a good analogy. And I think it really helps frame what generative AI can do for a business, what it can do for employees, and the investment it takes to get that AI really helping you. What do you think, Nicole? You like having
I
interns?
I love having interns, especially they work 24/7. I can have them help me at home too. I need a recipe. I'm
Yeah.
hitting up my AI intern.
Well, that's an interesting part, right? Like if I had a human intern and they wrote, a report and I asked them to change it 3 times, they probably will. If I asked them to change it 5 times, then they'll start to roll their eyes 10 times, 15 times, 20 times. They would get demoralized, right? And I have
Sure.
to worry about their feelings and oh, maybe they don't think I'm really value them. AI, you can tell it to rewrite something 50 times and it will do it, and you don't have to worry about demoralizing your intern. And I think that's an important aspect, that it will work 24 hours for you. That is it's there to really help you. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
all right. So let's talk about some of the benefits of adopting AI. You know, as I think about, keep the AI as an intern, it's going to make you more productive. All right. And one of the key things about AI is it levels the playing field a lot. All right. So say you're really good at research, but you're not really good at writing, or you're really good at creating, or, you're a marketer, you're really good at creating marketing content, but you're not good at data analysis, right? The clicks on the website, the open rates, you have these spreadsheets, you're not good at that. AI can help you with that. Or you're really good with data analysis, but you can't write a good report. AI can help you with that. So it levels the playing field. It helps you become more productive. It takes away some of the job functions that you may not like and allows you to focus on the pieces that you really do like, right? I like research, I hate writing. I like data analysis, I hate writing. I love marketing, I hate data analysis. And we always joke, Nicole, when we were a smaller company, she was the chief grammar officer. All right. So whenever we would write an email, maybe not an email, but maybe it was a marketing email or blog, we'd have to send it over to Nicole because she was the best with grammar. She would rewrite the sentences, and we wouldn't produce anything without Nicole taking a look at it. So now Nicole has been replaced with AI because we don't have to ask Nicole anymore. We can use AI, but me, I can't spell. I'm very hard. I'm horrible at grammar. So I can put my words down and then have AI help me, with that editing. It takes away some of the pieces that I'm not good at, so I can focus on the things that I'm better at. It also automates tasks. If you need to take some numbers and write a report, and you could do that manually, it's also very easy to put it into an AI, generate the output. And some of the other things, it really helps with creativity. You could brainstorm, and we're going to show some examples of this in a few minutes, but you can brainstorm with AI. You can have it help you become more creative. What other things do you see, Nicole, here that maybe I didn't talk about?
Well, first, I'd like to say that I still am the grammar officer. You always
Okay,
need a
I don't
human
want
in
to
the
take that
loop
away
with
from you. That's
AI,
fine.
right? There has to be a human in the loop. So I do still
Exactly.
field some grammar questions here and there.
Excellent.
But yeah, those are all great points. Something I think of it in marketing sense is, okay, writing blogs might be really fun, but where do I start? I kind of sometimes might need help with a starting point. Okay, it's Cybersecurity Awareness Month is coming up. What are the hot topics that we should talk about this month? So I can ask ChatGPT, help me come up with some 5 blog topics for the month of October, things like that. So there's ways that you can use it as a starting point. If you're having trouble getting started, I think that's one of the most beneficial ways that I see
Yep.
using generative AI.
Absolutely. And 91% of employees feel more motivated and enjoy their work due to AI. Now, I'll qualify that. You need to understand how to work with it because it can be frustrating if you don't know how to use it. But if you're using it and it is producing, it's helping you. It's helping you get your job done. It's going to make your job better, easier, faster. And I think people look at that as a positive. Let's talk about the 5 hours from a marketing perspective.
Yeah, so 5 hours per week is the average time save in marketers in particular with using generative AI. So that comes down to over a month a year of time saved for not only for marketers, so not only the employee is benefiting by saving those 5 hours a week, but the organization is reaping those benefits as well.
Yeah, and generative AI works really well in terms of writing, right? So you can see why it would impact marketing the most, right? Or maybe not the most, but have a big impact because marketing, you're writing blogs, you're writing emails, you're doing a lot of creative content building. That is in the wheelhouse of AI, and the more that you can harness that along with humans and their ideas, I could see where that time savings can really add up. And a month out of the year is pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, 91% of executives, oh, let me just get the last
Sorry.
one.
Yep, let me go back.
No, that's okay. Because I think this is important. 91%
Sure.
of executives want employees to use generative AI to save time and enhance productivity. If you're a business owner, you want your employees to be able to do more, right? You want them to be happier with their job because they're not stuck doing some monotonous work. They're doing more creative work or more higher level work. And I think that's important. I think personally as a business owner, I want my employees to have these tools so they can do more, and productivity sometimes has a negative connotation to it. I'm looking at making it easier for employees to get their job done. And if that's it, they're happy employees, I'm a happy business owner. And I think that's really the value here in harnessing AI.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about some of the ways of communicating with AI and interacting. Because as I said before, if you give it generic, a prompt, right? The prompt is something that you tell, ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini AI what you want to do. If you give it a generic prompt, you're going to get a generic output. And it's really important to give it the context or the background. I'm trying to write this article or this blog, and I want you to act like a marketing manager. And this is the information. The more information I can give it, the more context I can give it, the more I talk about the audience. This is for our clients or our prospects or my employees. It will produce a lot better results. And we have a methodology here at Breach Secure now. We call it the chat methodology for telling generative AI how to create this content. And the tone, do you want it to be funny? Do you want it to be, formal? Do you want it to be business? You're using it, as Nicole said, you're using it to invite people over for, a birthday party. What's the tone of that? So there's a whole methodology that we use and we teach as part of our training on how to use that. Nicole, you want to give some more input into some of the ways of interacting?
Yeah. So as Art mentioned, in a previous slide, a lot of the barriers we see with adopting generative AI is just kind of the lack of understanding how to prompt it properly. So you may have tried it before and said, "Hey, build me an email about, my upcoming product launch, which is a new cookie line." But if that's all you told it, you might have got a very generic response back. But giving it all this context that we mentioned here in the chat method, so looking at the context of the prompt, honing in on exactly what you want out of that. So as Art mentioned, I'm the marketing manager. So position this as if you were a marketing manager. What's your audience? What's your tone? Really refining that prompt and making sure that you're telling ChatGPT in detail what it is you're looking for. I say Chat GPT, but this could be Copilot, this could be Perplexity, anything that you're using to really get those responses that you need. So um, it is great. It's a very helpful resource to communicate with generative AI, but really understanding the best way to do that and how to use things like the chat method to get the results you're looking for is really, really important.
And here's the other piece. So let's go back to the intern. One of the things that you want to think about is talking to another human. I know it's not a human, it's a computer, it's artificial intelligence, but if you talk to it like it is an intern, like it is an employee, like it is another human, that back and forth, what Nicole and I are doing right now, we're going back and forth. That's the way they interact with AI. It may not give you what you want on the first generation, but you go back and forth, you tell it exactly what you want. And I think the more back and forth that you get comfortable with, the better that the output's going to be. Now, it sounds weird, but I actually ask, I say, please generate this and thank you, or this is really good. And I'm not doing it to make the AI feel better. I'm doing it because it humanizes the AI. It gets my mind thinking, the more I say please and thank you and this is good, or giving it refinement, just like I was talking to another employee. And the more that your mindset is around that, the more that you can harness this power of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to the AI intern, we're really training AI to understand and give us those results we want. So this is kind of all part of that training process. One other thing I wanted to mention on this slide that we listed, you can also copy, paste, you can insert documents, provide images, upload PDFs. There's a lot you can do when you're communicating with generative AI. It's not just typing out a prompt, it's putting in a PDF. Give me the high level points of this PDF in bullet point order that would be most impactful for this audience. So there's a lot you can do here.
Yeah, and just a word of caution with what Nicole said is exactly right. We want to be very cautious of what information you're putting into AI or into ChatGPT or Perplexity. You don't want to put any confidential information, but more of that background and something to help you. This is the way I've written 5 blog articles. This is my style. Use my style. That gives it a lot of background. That really, helps. So just a word of caution on what you put into ChatGPT, but at the same time, the more background, the more context that you give ChatGPT or generative AI, the better that output.
Yes. All right, so Art, let's look at some use cases for specific
Yeah.
examples of how we can leverage generative AI.
Yeah, one of the things that's really good, as we were talking about, is general research, brainstorming, finding, quotes out on the internet, or finding, out of reports. It's excellent for research, find, trends and topics and brainstorming. I need a blog article. I'm trying to market a new product that we have. Give me some ideas. ChatGPT, Perplexity, Meta AI, all of these tools are incredible at helping you brainstorm and maybe getting you to think a little differently. These definitely one of the major uses of generative AI is general research and brainstorming. So if you want to understand emerging fashions or trends, here's a prompt, and we're going to make this this slide deck available after the webinar. So, you can use these prompts to actually, try them and see what results you get. Brainstorming, let's take that one, for example, all right? So, we actually used ChatGPT for this. So, Nicole, why don't you read the first prompt and let's talk through that.
Sure. So we told ChatGPT, I own a small bakery in Boulder, Colorado, and I want to brainstorm some social media post ideas to promote our new fall menu. Assume the role of my marketing manager and provide some ideas that speak to my local patrons in a casual, friendly tone. So you can see this is very specific. We've honed in on the audience, who I am, what kind of tone I'm looking for. And ChatGPT says, absolutely, here's some ideas that can connect with our Boulder community. And they're listing out, 3 ideas for these social media posts. So the first one, for example, hey Boulder, our pumpkin spice muffins are back and better than ever. Swing by for a taste of fall. So if we look at that one, they're asking, would you like any more tweaks or ideas? And I said, that sounds great. What kind of image should I pair with the pumpkin spice muffin? And it told me a close-up shot of the muffins with steam rising, surrounded by autumn leaves and a cozy cup of coffee. That will really capture the warm, inviting vibe of fall. So I said that was a great idea. How can I drive engagement on the post? And then it tells me add a fun caption. What's your favorite go-to treat, Boulder? Comment below and let us know. So here we're encouraging followers to tag a friend who loves pumpkin spice. But something I do want to mention here, when ChatGPT told us a close-up shot of the muffins with steam rising, surrounded by autumn leaves and all that, we actually went to ChatGPT's image creator, plugged that exact prompt in, and said, build us this image. And the image you're seeing here on the right is AI generated, is exactly what we asked for with this exchange. So in this example in particular, you can see how easy it is to go back and forth with generative AI. You can ask for more refined details. Maybe I didn't like the post ideas. I could have said, these aren't really resonating. I want to target winter treats instead of fall or anything like that. So we wanted to provide that as an example of what, a prompting conversation might look like.
And if you had an intern, you'd be asking the same thing. Let's try to come up with some ideas. They would give you some ideas. You'd say, okay, this one's pretty good. What kind of image would, and then maybe they would go and get a stock image. And it's the back and forth, or if those ideas aren't that good, you would go back and forth with that employee. It's exactly the same with this. The more you get comfortable with that back and forth, and that really is the key to leveraging a lot of the power of this generative AI.
Yes. And you can follow this process for any of these prompts. As Art mentioned, we'll send this out after the webinar, but some other functions that's really helpful to do this with is content development. So for example, a travel agency wants to create blogs about a popular travel destination, or for communication, a company needs to communicate a major policy change to employees. So you can see these prompts that we've drafted on the right. These are very specific. These, I'll be honest, would not be our day one. It took a lot of training for us to nail down these prompts and use that chat method, but these are just a great example of how specific you can be to get the results you're looking for.
And this next one, that's data analysis and content analysis. I use Excel a lot. And I could set up formulas and I can do analysis, but sometimes it's just easier to put a spreadsheet into generative AI and talk to it just like it was there. Oh, find the average of, average size of our customers. Find, the revenue of our top 10, partners. And it goes and creates all of those formulas in the background and gives you that information. So, even if you are really good at using Excel, or you're not good at it at all, being able to put in a spreadsheet and just start asking questions without creating any of that work within Excel is just amazing. I think it's a superpower, to be honest with you. And I'm a very analytical person, and I've been finding this analysis of Excel files and chatting in English to try to get what I'm looking for is just amazing. And then also content analysis. It's like, taking large PDFs and say, summarize this for me. Give me high level, summary of what this report is about. It really helps. And then you take some of that summary and then you say, well, help me write some blogs with it. So, there's a lot of things that it will do from a data and content analysis point of view.
All right, I think we got one more.
All right. And you know what, you do a lot of graphic design. So why don't you talk through this?
Okay, so this one, the function would be graphic design. A marketing team needs to create engaging social media graphics for a product launch. So essentially exactly what we just showed you with the pumpkin muffin. This is the exact type of thing we could do here with that. Imagery analysis as well. So an e-commerce platform wants to ensure high quality product images across its listing. We can have AI do an analysis on what that looks like as well. So these are just a few use cases. If, we could list out for every job function, every industry, there's a way you can use AI for any job role that you're in. So, um,
And the graphic component, it's really evolving. Some of the images that it creates look, unbelievable. They look, it looks like it was real. It wasn't AI created. It's just real photographs. And then you're starting to see text, a prompt to an image, a prompt to a video, and creating videos just by talking to it. Just like I could talk and analyze an Excel spreadsheet, I can create a prompt and create a movie. And that is really evolving. So, next 6-12 months, you're going to start to see full-blown, 5-minute movies that are created just by putting some prompts in and creating that. So it's taking a lot of that skills that you would need, high-end graphics people to do, to create this content, and putting it into everyone's hands. So, it's not perfect yet, but it's getting better and better every day.
yeah.
All right.
All
So,
right.
you want to take this to begin
I,
with,
I
or?
just, no, I was just going to say, there's a lot you can do with generative AI. There's a lot of opportunity, as we just showed, but really to harness the potential of AI in its full capacity and really get the most out of it, you need to understand what we just talked about. So the prompting, the security risks, all those kinds of things. And that really starts with training. So Art, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we try to make it sound really easy, right? And it is. I mean, part of what we're trying to do is lower the barrier of resistance, right? So using generative AI isn't that hard. You see that it's English, it's talking back and forth. But, if you really want to use it effectively, you do need some sort of training, because you want to know how to prompt. You want to use the chat method. You want to be able to validate the information that comes out. Also, you need to understand the risks. You need to understand, what I was talking about, making sure that you're not putting information into generative AI that potentially could cause a data breach, or expose client information or customer information that you don't want to. And then also, AI is evolving. What we're talking about today is, one of the quotes I really like, the AI we're using today is the dumbest AI that we'll ever use. Okay, that means tomorrow it'll be smarter, and the day after it'll be smarter. So you need continuous learning, because new tools come out, new methods come out, new features within the tools that you're using are exposed. So we're really, really early. I know there's lots of noise around artificial intelligence and generative AI and ChatGPT and Meta AI, but it's changing. And so really to be able to harness it, that if you're a business owner, you want to think about getting your employees trained on how to use this safely and effectively. And if you're an employee, you want to upskill yourself to be able to leverage these tools. Like, I use Excel, right, as an example. If I gave Excel to someone who's never used it, it's this powerful, unbelievably powerful tool that if you didn't know how to create formulas, or you don't know how to do rows and columns, you don't know what this is, won't get anything out of it. So just like the tools that we use, AI requires continuous learning and a real good understanding of how to use it safely and securely.
Yeah. So what does that look like? How does that training come into play?
Yeah, so part of what we do at Breach Secure now is we've been training employees for 15 years. We understand that some of the things that we talked about today, there's some resistance, there's some hesitation, there's fear. We're trying to make it very engaging and interesting. And we start with our fundamentals class. High level, what is AI? What are some of the tools? What are some of the methodologies of using AI, some of the stuff that we talked about, but much more in depth, and talking about the ethical considerations and the safety considerations, and making sure that, at the end of that training class, which is usually about 15 or 20 minutes, the employee has a really good understanding of what AI is, how to use it, and next steps and what they should do. And what we find is the feedback on that class, it's very eye-opening. It's easy. It isn't something that people are intimidated, because we're making those classes so it's something that someone who hasn't used AI before can really embrace it easily. And we talk to that beginner, or if you're advanced, you'll pick up some new things. The next piece, which is really important, is the cybersecurity class that we have. We have another fundamentals class, another 15, 20-minute class that really looks at cybersecurity in two methods, or two frames. One, how do you use AI securely, making sure that you don't cause a data breach, that you're not exposing information that you shouldn't. So that's we focus on that. But the other part of it is, how do cyber criminals use AI? How are they using it to create targeted phishing emails? How are they using it to do, to deliver malware? How are they using it to do deep fakes, right? So I don't know if you've seen deep fakes where you think it's an individual, but really it's AI. I was talking about that video. Imagine, a cyber criminal now creating a video of a CEO, or a video of someone that or trust, and they use that to scam you or try to do some financial fraud. So it's really important to understand how criminals are using AI, making them more productive, so that you would be prepared and can defend if you are a targeted victim. So that class is really important for all employees to understand both sides of the cybersecurity aspect of AI.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the nanos.
Yes. I'm sorry, did you say you want me to talk about the
Yeah.
nanos? Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. So nanos is really our ongoing AI training opportunity. This is where we deliver really concise, compact uh, training tips. These are TikTok style videos, so it's what we're used to engaging with today. They're less than 60 seconds. They're videos. We also do infographics and a monthly recap. We post them weekly. These are for timely topics. So as Art mentioned, AI is evolving. We're going to continue to see this evolution of AI capabilities. So having ongoing training is really important for that reason. And then we couldn't possibly pack everything into a fundamentals course that you can do with AI. So being able to deliver these ultra compact tips throughout the month to you and your employees, that's really a valuable way to stay ahead on AI, make sure you understand, the implications of cybersecurity risks as well, and what's changing in that landscape.
Yeah, and think about, if you watch TikToks or Instagram Reels, a certain recipe, right? It's not the cookbook. It's one specific recipe on how to make a cake, or an egg sandwich or something like that. That's what our nanos are. Specific use cases. If you're in sales, you're in marketing, you're in financial analysis, a new tool, a new feature. So we try to target very specific topics with these nanos, and they're really engaging and really interesting.
Yeah. All right. We're getting a little low on time here, so
Okay.
we'll have to move a little bit quickly. But the last piece we wanted to mention here is the Fundamentals Guidebook. So this is a supplemental download. It accommodates that fundamentals course that Art talked about. This is kind of your cheat sheet for all things AI. So you can download this straight out of the portal. You can share it with family and friends. It's really a good opportunity to get a little more in depth with some of these things we discuss, and have that as a reference and something to share with your family.
All right, and we talked about this, but we just just to reiterate, that if you're going to use AI, you need to use it safely and securely, and companies should have AI policies, AI use cases, should make sure that employees know what data they should be entering in or shouldn't be entering in, engaging, training, verifying. And the thing about AI right now is it makes mistakes. You want to verify and make sure that the data is accurate. You want to make sure that it doesn't hallucinate and make up, because it make up information. And so it's really important to take a look at AI and say it can really help me, but at the same time, I need to be human and validate a lot of the information that is coming out of AI. And part of our training, we talk about that, and we want to make sure that companies are using it safely and effectively.
All
You want to
right.
take
And
this? Yep.
yeah, so we'd just like to encourage everybody to start your AI journey today. There's a lot of potential with this. As Art mentioned, our training is certainly a great starting point. Let me go ahead and jump to the next slide. Um, if your MSP invited you here today, please contact them to find out how you can take advantage of generative AI today. They can help get you set up in the training course. If you're already familiar with the platform, you can hop into the training tab and start your training today. And if you've joined us and you don't have an MSP, please reach out to us. We can definitely get you connected with the right party to get your journey started as well.
Excellent, excellent. And I think we try to hit on today that AI is really, it's emerging. It could really help organizations. It can make employees much more productive. It's new, it's exciting, and at the same time, there needs to be some caution. So, and to get the most out of it, it really takes training and making sure that employees are using it safely, securely, and effectively. And we're excited about AI, and we're hope that we can continue to help employees, embrace how to use AI and get the most out of it.
Absolutely. Well, Art, thank you so much for presenting with me today. It was great to have you here, and thank you
Thank
all for
you.
joining us. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
All right, take care, everyone. Thank you
Bye.
very much.